The United States Marine Corps has one of the best systems of brainwashing ever known to man. It's called Parris Island, South Carolina. I've edited this answer to add material to it, clarify some points, and thank everyone for their upvotes. It's very surprising and encouraging. I could be very wrong about all this, and I would welcome a drill instructor or someone who worked there to tell us all more about it. I'd like to describe my impression of what I remember about boot camp at Parris Island. It was an awesome time, and I would do it again if I could. To me, the remarkable thing about Parris Island is the incredible, almost synergistic efficiency of their methods. The recruit doesn't know it, but everything is tightly controlled. It intentionally looks chaotic and crazy, specifically, to create specific kinds of stress. Things that seem ridiculous or severe or mean are meant to seem so, exactly to the degree that you felt it. You're told to bring as little as possible with you besides an ID card, then you leave home on a government bus full of strangers. They are all different, from different areas of the region, yet they all sort of look like people you know. They're all normal people just like you and me, and the nervous tension among you doesn't lessen along the way. I'm pretty sure the bus routes are planned specifically to arrive around 4:30 a.m., so that everyone would be in a fitful sleep, bus sleep sucks, upon arrival. Before you know it, a drill instructor magically appears at the head of the bus, formidable but not threatening, and crisply barks out loud, simple instructions about getting your things and lining up outside. You stand on the famous yellow footprints and march your way to the mythical doors below the noble phrase, "Through these portals pass the world's finest fighting men, United States Marines." Processing in seemed to take, but probably didn't, about 3 days, which is time you spend either answering questions about yourself or failing to sleep in a desk. I believe this long period of pseudo-sleep deprivation exists deliberately so that everyone is exhausted, falls immediately asleep, and stay deeply asleep until you are summoned in the morning. That's how you get 100 people from various time zones and lifestyles into the same sleep pattern in one night. There were some very basic classes about conduct, etc., and some people behind me snickered at a comment that the drill instructor's voice sounded like a frog. He seemed pretty genuinely pissed off about it, and I remember him mentioning that he's ruined his speaking voice for the sake of training Marines. It made me consider that the job of being a drill instructor takes an incredible amount of commitment and dedication. It wasn't the only time it seemed more like a lifestyle than a job. The group is all issued uniform clothing, literally, uniform, in that they are all identical, and your clothes, jewelry, and any personal effects you were dumb enough to bring are taken into storage. Nothing comes in with you except wedding rings and religious medallions. There's always one unfortunate guy who brings a giant suitcase full of clothes and snacks, and the drill instructors all pretend to take note of his name and hope he goes to their platoon threateningly. Also, your hair is shaved off unless you are a woman, then it is cut short. For most young adults, clothes and hair are a big part of one's identity. Now you are all the same. At first you follow a lot of seemingly stupid or arbitrary rules about how to hold your lunch tray, or which way to fold a towel. Months later, you find out that the reason you hold your lunch tray like that is to develop muscle memory in your arms, training your muscles the correct way to hold a rifle while you march. Before long your arms know where they should be, and you don't even think about it. The awkward way you've always been made to carry your cup, left hand on bottom and right hand on the top, was not just to prevent spills, it also happens to be the way you carry a live hand grenade, so you don't drop it on the way down to the training range. Then you get to pull the pin and throw it at a little group of machine gun bunkers. They made you fold your towel that way because it's the only way it fits into this pouch on your pack. If you didn't do it the way you were told, they will notice when you can't figure out why it doesn't fit in the pouch. It was a trap. No recruit wants to be noticed by a drill instructor. And that's intentional too. They need you to know that you're better off doing what you're told, and they need you to know that if you do anything wrong they will know it. Not for punishment or anything like that. Just some random drill instructor who was already shouting randomly at everyone anyway spends an extra 30 seconds yelling at you. But drill instructor yelling is no ordinary yelling. You can feel a drill instructor yell at you from 20 feet away, and there are unseen forces behind the way they holler 2 inches in front of your face. This is also not punishment, they are developing the processes of your amygdala, putting into you the discipline to keep your temper if you are angry, to stand strongly and face it if you are scared, and to persevere if you are confused. If you get into real trouble by fumbling around with something, you might have to stop and stand at attention while getting yelled at by several drill instructors who yell different things at the same time. Again, it's not punishment. They are deliberately causing stress to make your adrenaline surge, your heart and mind race, while they ask you questions that require you to think under pressure and shout replies. This technique is constant throughout training. Boot camp is like training for a stress test. Especially in the early phases of boot camp, you are given more exercise, and less food and sleep than you are accustomed to. The resulting fatigue leaves your brain a bit foggy and very susceptible to suggestion. Falling asleep during one of the many classes about how you now live your new life has very stressful and painful consequences. You are forced to change your language. It's not a bed, or a bunk, it's a rack. This is because beds are for people, and you are not a person. You're a tool and/or weapon, and those go in a rack. Similarly, all the parts of the building are now called by nautical terminology in order to prepare you for life at sea. A flashlight is a moonbeam, a pen is an ink stick, your running shoes are your go-fasters. Or should I say, this recruits go-fasters, because you are also forbidden the use of personal pronouns, and quickly get used to saying things like, "Sir, this recruit requests permission to ask a question," or, "Sir, good afternoon sir, Recruit Jones requests permission to open the Senior Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Davidson's office door." The recruit you are referring to is yourself. The person you are talking to is the Senior Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Davidson. No matter what you're doing, you are always doing it in perfect columns and rows with everyone else. Conformity is not optional in any way. You don't ever want to stand out. Your classes teach about everything from uniform care to explosives to battlefield-level first aid. You realize that there's probably no situation life can throw at you anymore that you haven't been prepared for in some way. You realize how much you can accomplish, and how incredibly much more a small group of people can accomplish through determination and resourcefulness. You get a small time here and there to talk to other recruits, but most of the talking you do is in unison with everyone else, drilling to develop rote memory for phrases like, discipline is the instant willing obedience to all orders, respect for authority, self-reliance, and teamwork, sir, or the general orders, or weapon safety rules. In 3 months they take a random sampling of hundreds of young adults and turn them into a fit, fast, strong, knowledgeable, and organized group of sharply obedient and highly adaptable robots. It is an incredibly powerful tool. If our politicians operated this effectively, the world would be incredible right now. The Paris Island experience is mean, but try to keep your perspective that it's mean strategically and on purpose. It's supposed to be mean and hard because it's training. They make Marines there. It's the Marine Corps. If you don't want to be challenged, don't join the Marine Corps.